Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mikey. You guys are rocking with me on Mikey's Intellectual Corner. On today's episode, we're diving back into Kurzgesagt. This is what if Earth got kicked out of the solar system, became a rogue planet, and as always, we're just going to dive right into it, so let's roll.
The night sky seems peaceful and orderly. But in reality, stars are careening through the galaxy at speeds of hundreds of thousands of kilometers per hour. Not bound by static formations, but changing neighborhoods constantly. Fortunately, space is big, and so the stars of the Milky Way are very unlikely to hit us. Unfortunately, they don't have to hit anything to make us have a really bad time on Earth. And there are...
This is, just for us Americans. I know he put it in reference in kilometers, but if I'm not mistaken, it's like 12 million, like anywhere between 2 to 12 million miles per or whatever. It's pretty insane, how fast they get. Because whenever, if I'm not mistaken, they just grab onto a gravitational pull of any type of star system or something. If they're not close enough to actually get pulled in, they just take it and slingshot themselves, essentially. But yeah.
Already stars starting to get very close. To understand how dangerous stars are to us, we need to talk about gravity. Gravity attracts every piece of matter to every other piece of matter in the universe. You are attracted by an atom a million light years away and vice versa. Luckily, this force gets weaker over distance, and it also depends on how massive something is.
Yeah, which reminds me kind of if you guys ever seen it, it's called like the Great Attractor or something like that. It's freaking insane. It's pretty much this huge thing that's in space that's attracting our galaxy, our entire galaxy towards it, along with like probably the Andromeda galaxy since it's close to us too. And it's on the same like plane as us, so like vertical plane as us, so we can't see it or anything like that. So it's really insane. Like it essentially, we either think it's like a star cluster or it could be a black hole, like an enormous black hole that we don't see, and that's pulling us towards it. We don't know. But whatever it is, I definitely recommend look it up. It's called the Great Attractor.
So depends on how massive something is. So things that are close and are very massive are more attractive, winning the cosmic tug of war. This way, massive things define how smaller things behave around them. The Sun makes up 99.75% of all the mass in the solar system, and so it shapes the behavior and orbits of everything else in it. Billions of years ago, after the Sun was born, the solar system was a chaotic and dangerous place as the planets were formed from countless little pieces that collided constantly. But over the eons, a stable balance emerged. Today, most planets and asteroids have settled into safe and predictable orbits. We have the inner and outer planets, the asteroid and Kuiper belt, and at the edge, the Oort cloud, a giant sphere of comets orbiting slowly in...
Which, if I'm not even mistaken, the Oort cloud is... it's really predicted. It's not even like, we're not even like 100% sure that's even there, because obviously the asteroids and stuff that are floating in there would be too dark to really reflect anything that we could really see. But I'm pretty sure it's just a prediction as to where, or a theory as to why there's thousands of asteroids already in our solar system or something like that. But if I'm not mistaken, it's so far out that like Voyager is going to take like 70,000 years for it to get there from where it is right now, and I'm pretty sure it's already past like Pluto and stuff like that. So it's pretty crazy to think about how really vast our solar system is compared to everything else, let alone our galaxy and our universe and all that other stuff. It's just insane. But yeah.
Of comets orbiting slowly in cold storage. We really don't want this balance to be disturbed. If another star came too close to us, its gravity would pull on everything in the solar system like a spoiled toddler, messing up the pleasant order of the planets and asteroids and comets. This isn't some imaginary danger. Some 70,000 years ago, a red dwarf-brown dwarf binary system passed through the Oort cloud and messed things up. It might even have sent a deadly onslaught of asteroids our way. But it could take 2 million years until those visitors from the Oort cloud arrive in the inner solar system.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that was called like Skull's star or something like that. It happened like he said, like 80,000 years ago or something like that. But if I'm not mistaken, there's still stone men, cavemen type men around, like, or a little bit before that. So our ancestors would have been alive to be able to see something that happened, where they saw like a little dim red light come kind of close and then kind of dip out. It'd been pretty crazy to see, but they were alive to see it. And the sky would have been like clear enough to see it, you know what I'm saying? No light pollution or anything.
But there's a much bigger problem on the horizon. Gliese 710, a red dwarf with about half the mass of the Sun, is currently headed towards the solar system. In about 1 million years, it'll pass through the Oort cloud and become the brightest star in the night sky. A close flyby like this would unfold over hundreds of thousands of years, disrupting the orbits of millions of objects in the Oort cloud considerably. If we're unlucky, it will trigger a new period of planetary bombardment similar to the early solar system. The night sky could be filled with comets and asteroids raining down on the inner solar system. The larger ones could cause dinosaur-level mass extinctions and would be bad for the stock market. But it could get much worse. The galaxy is...
Yeah, but by this time too, by the time that they actually get into the inner planets and stuff like that, again, it would probably be millions of thousands of millions. It might be millions of years by this time. Just like how the asteroids heading towards us now are taking millions of years. So you just never know. And by that time, our civilization should be, you know, so civilized that, you know, fixing this should be push of a button. You know, my prediction. You never know. It might be wrong though, but. We'll see.
Galaxy is an intense place, and stars get close to each other regularly. So it is possible that a star could come much closer and not just pass us, but fly directly through the inner solar system. This would be very bad in the extreme. The chance of another star colliding with the Sun is astronomically unlikely, but that isn't what we're worried about. If another star were to pass by about as close as the Earth is from the Sun, it could easily eject the Earth from the solar system. The odds of such an event are estimated to be around 1 in 100,000 in the next 5 billion years. Small, but not absurdly so.
And although 5 billion years is, you know, don't get me wrong, 5 billion years is an enormous amount of time, a lot of time, but 1 in 100,000, that's not that much, you know what I'm saying, that's not that lot, like, you know what I'm saying, you have a worse chance of getting the lottery than this happening, you know what I'm saying, it's pretty big chance, but again, 5 billion years is a long, long time, so you never know, so.
As we discussed in another video, there seem to be billions of rogue planets doing their own thing in the galaxy, and this is one way to make them. So if this were to happen with an average red dwarf, what would happen on Earth? Kicking Earth out of the solar system. As the star enters the solar system, a small orangish dot appears in the sky that grows bigger and bigger for months, eventually becoming visible during the day. It would get bigger and much brighter than the moon. Too bright to look at directly. The night sky would be filled with an eerie red glow. After a few months, it would start shrinking again.
I wonder if it would almost look like, you know, I want to say what was the Tatooine off of Star Wars, where Luke was from, with, you know, the 2 stars and setting and stuff like that. And if it was, obviously with 2 suns in the sky like that, you know what I'm saying, I wonder if it would affect the temperature before, you know, it ejected us. Like, would it kind of raise the temperature a little bit? Because I would expect so, because, you know what I'm saying, that's pretty close, but let's see.
But so would the Sun. Over a few years, the Sun slowly grows smaller in the sky, and with it warmth and light start to dissipate. All around the world, as the days turn dark, the final winter of humanity would begin. The polar ice caps begin to grow and spread, while plants shrivel and die. Forests freeze, and animals die in droves. As the Earth passes the orbit of Mars, the average surface temperature has plummeted to near -50 degrees Celsius. From space, Earth begins to look like an icy...
Yeah, and by this time we're outside of the Goldilocks zone too, so I'm pretty sure we have a whole slew of problems if there's still any, you know, humans left on the under the surface or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Obviously on the top of the surface that's done, but under the surface there might be little pockets here and there, you never know.
The blue-green surface becoming the pale grey-white of death. As global infrastructure breaks down, people huddle together indoors, burning what they can for warmth as the temperature continues to drop, counting the days until they'll be out of food which no longer grows. Everybody living at the surface is living on borrowed time. By the time Earth reaches Jupiter's orbit, surface temperatures sink to -150 degrees Celsius, lower than the coldest ever recorded temperatures in Antarctica. Needless to say, by now, almost everyone is dead. Without the energy from sunlight to evaporate water, clouds don't form and the water cycle stops. The polar ice caps eventually touch at the equator and the oceans become covered in a thick layer of ice. As more and more of its heat leaks out, more water freezes onto the bottom of the ice sheet, the concentration of salt in the deep ocean grows, poisoning most animals.
My thing is, most of those animals, because obviously he's talking about like sperm whale or the sperm whales and stuff like that. Those can survive at certain depths, like super deep. They're super deep, along with like the colossal squid and stuff like that. But I'm thinking, how long would that last without, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously those animals still need oxygen, still need sunlight, and there's a huge thick layer of ice at the top. So either way, those probably didn't last as that long. Probably just, you know what I'm saying, a few weeks to days probably. Let's see though.
Concentration of salt in the deep ocean grows, poisoning most animals that survived here. Although around hydrothermal vents, communities of extremophiles might adapt even to these circumstances. Deep below the surface, some bacteria would not notice much of any of this, as they're still kept warm by the radioactive decay of elements in the Earth's core. As the Earth reaches the orbit of Pluto and the Kuiper Belt, the Sun is still the brightest star in the sky, but it's one among many, with stars now visible during the day. The temperature is now barely 40 degrees Celsius above absolute zero, below the freezing temperature of the gases in the atmosphere.
And I'm pretty sure that if obviously at this point our only surviving chance would be if there's little pockets all over the world under the ground, you know what I'm saying? Even if those pockets don't know about each other, I feel like that's probably what would happen. Like, humanity's kind of like a squirrely, you know what I'm saying, creature, so they would probably be able to survive pretty easily to be able to burrow down and stuff like that. I can see that.
A weird spectacle, enjoyed by no one unfortunately, unfolds as the atmosphere turns into nitrogen and then oxygen snow. Over a few years, it's deposited into an icy 10-meter thick sheet all over the planet's surface, with only a thin whisper of gas remaining. The frozen corpses of flora and fauna are buried beneath them. As Earth leaves the solar system, it becomes a rogue planet, traveling alone through the dark, lifeless and in solitude.
Yeah, I think right there, our worst case scenario, if this did happen, would be if we never eventually caught on to anything and we eventually, you know what I'm saying, floated outside of our own galaxy. Because if you enter once you enter intergalactic space, it's pretty much over from there. Like, it'll take literally billion years for any planet, no matter, or star, no matter how far or fast it's traveling. It'll usually take that, like, billions of years for it to go from one galaxy to another. That's how far away it is. It's pretty crazy to think about, but yeah, let's keep going.
But weirdly enough, there is hope. Humanity would not be surprised by this potential extinction event. We'd notice it thousands of years in advance. There's not a lot we could do to stop a star, but we could prepare. Most of us would perish, but a few million could survive in huge artificial complexes powered by geothermal and nuclear energy, possibly even fusion if we can learn to use the ice around us for power. Here, humanity might survive for hundreds of thousands of years. At some point, we would become used to our circumstances, and new generations would watch documentaries in disbelief about the time we had.
Yeah, but that would almost make you think, like, how would we develop too, like, without a sun? Like, will we end up looking like kind of like mole men, or, you know what I'm saying, like naked mole rats or something like that? Because, you know what I'm saying, you kind of need that for your melanin and all other stuff to develop in your pupils. And I feel like I need sunlight, all that. So
our own star and could walk the surface of Earth. And at some point, we might decide to look for another home. If the Earth were lucky enough to pass by another star with a habitable planet, we could try to make a fresh start. Spaceflight, oddly enough, would become very easy without the atmosphere in the way. So it's not unthinkable that the last survivors would leave Earth behind and try again on a new planet around a new star. Maybe one day, thousands of years later, the descendants of humanity will tell legends about Earth's ancient past. Stories of our lost home. of a mysterious icy planet floating alone.
And that would probably be the saddest end to our planet, because I mean, you know what I'm saying, the only planet that we know of that's bustling with life, and its end is to travel alone in space, you know what I'm saying, without anything on it. That's pretty sad. Let's see. Let's see how this ends.
And empty through the dark of space. So basically, the key to humanity's survival is learning about what we'll be dealing with. Well, we'd better get cracking then.
Right there. So yeah, pretty bleak future if we end up getting kicked out of the solar system. So hopefully that does not happen in our near future or a distant future. But again, thank you guys again for joining me on another episode of Mike's Intellectual Corner. If you guys liked the episode, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys when I see you. I'm out. Peace.